Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisterous, coming to you with some Diamond League destruction out of the map Antigua Shipyard. Spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner, we do have Incubus as the orange Terran, and up here in the top left-hand corner, we do have Hjax as the light blue Protoss. And I'm not really sure if I should read off the clan tags, but I think I'm going to decide not to unless I'm actually commentating pro-level games. I mean, I guess. Yeah, sure. Incubus is from Team Gaia, and Hjax is from the clan EXEVGK. And I don't know what that's from, but it sounds kind of familiar to me. Why does EXE sound familiar to me? I have no idea. But anyway, I would just like to share a fun story because it took me like 15 minutes to sort this out before I started recording today. And that is that, literally right before I started recording, I managed to break my main hotkey setting because I was trying to get rid of achievements because without it, whenever I hit F9 to record fraps, the achievement menu popped up. And that like really fucked up with my recordings, and I'm sure you guys saw that last time that happened, which was only like 2 videos ago. So I went and I undid that. However, when I undid that, I accidentally made it so that it was the left key click, which of course is selection in box grids and on clicking on units. And I completely broke that control. And then it took me like 15 minutes to see how to fix that, because whenever I would click, like, it would bring up my achievements, which I then rapidly fixed, but then I couldn't actually click on any buildings or any units. So that was very, 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 very annoying. And Blizzard, I thank you for allowing me to break my own computer in such a fantastic way, to be quite perfectly honest, because I never would have expected myself to be possible of breaking a computer like that. I mean, I'm not great with computers, but I'm not like that bad, because that was pretty bad. I was pretty disappointed, and it kind of just sucked. Anyway, we do have Hjax doing a little bit of harass with his probe, trying to be as StarCrafts as possible, and sadly he won't be able to get any more work done. He tried his best to snipe off that SCV, but the probe will have to run away now that the Marine is in production. However, the probe being all sneaky, moving right over here to the right side of the base, so we might be seeing a pylon, excuse me, going down at any point, which is going to be very interesting. I want to see how that one plays out. It looks like we do have Incubus just being annoying and planting his SCV down at the natural, making sure that there will be no expansions taken very, very early in the game for this Protoss player, which is a pretty safe thing to do. I mean, it kind of sucks if you let your opponent get a really fast base on cross-map Antigua, because cross-map Antigua is just, it's a hard time to try to punish your opponent, especially if your opponent is Protoss. And honestly, Protoss is just pretty fantastic. And I'm like trying to figure out if this is a HOTS game, because the unbuildable plates are here, and I don't think it is, because I'm on the Wings of Liberty client, but this one's kind of like effed up. I don't know what's wrong with this unbuildable plate, because there's nothing on top of it. It's literally just like the lattice grid work, which doesn't look right. It just looks wrong. On all these other ones, they have like the little metal plates on top of them, but on this one, it's literally just the lattice of metal, which is weird. It looks like we do have the Nexus finally going down for our Protoss player, and our Terran player actually is not going to be doing anything like that. In fact, he's just putting down a very interestingly placed reactor. I would have expected the reactor to be a 1 block over, so that, you can actually wall off, because if you're going to work that hard to make a wall off, you might as well just, make a wall off. I mean, that's usually how strategy works. Anyway, we do have the probe that is going to be able to walk right on into the space now. It will be able to see the factory with the reactor. It will be able to see that there are not 2 refineries currently out. It'll basically be able to see everything. This factory is going to be producing 2 Hellions at a time. The probe is going to be able to see that 2 Hellions do pop out of there, so he does know that there is going to be a little bit of a light harassing on the on the way. And Hjax, just setting down that pylon, because I mean, YOLO, right guys? YOLO. Yeah, YOLO. That's definitely what I'm gonna go with. I'm just gonna say that he put that pylon down because YOLO. Anyway, is he gonna cancel it? No. What? No, he didn't let it. He didn't cancel it. Okay, so Hjax just felt like throwing 100 minerals into the gods, essentially, of StarCraft 2. He was like, I don't need this minerals. I mean, Incubus, he could use them more than I could. So I'm just gonna give him 100 minerals in a pylon, because I mean, fuck it, right? YOLO. Exactly, that is right. That's going to be the argument for life today. I'm gonna see how many times I can fit it into this video, because I know everybody that's watching it is just cringing right now. They're fucking grinding their teeth up against each other, because every time I say YOLO, they're like, "You're not swag enough for that sentence," and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I am swag enough. I mean, I have YOLO swag." Alright, and I am used myself far too much, so we do have Incubus dropping down his supply depot at the front of his base, and, you know, he's going into a very standard build. Both of our players are kind of just transitioning into a sort of late game builds. Neither of them look like they want to put on super early pressure. I mean, we do have the Hellion drop, but Hellion drops aren't going to be the thing to finish the game. This is by no means an all-in attack. I would say it's not even really a risky attack. He is building the tech lab on the barracks, and I could see that tech lab switching over to the starport, especially with this positioning, which means that we could see Banshees on the way. Oh, nope, it's going to be siege tanks. Never mind, Boisterous is just a silly, silly man thinking that the factory wouldn't fly all the way over there because the factory was far as hell away. So anyway, we are going to have the drop going down here in the main base of Hjax, and I don't know how much damage these Hellions can do. I mean, the Sim City is quite magnificent. It's going to be hard for those Hellions to actually line up their shots really well. And I just got messaged on something, but I'm kind of just going to ignore it. And it just buzzed my phone too, because, you know, screw me, right? I really should remember to shut down all my web browsers before I start recording. And it looks like Hjax took actually a crap ton of damage there. 19 probes killed. I did not react quite in the way that I should have, but that was kind of ridiculous. I mean, even with the base down faster, he's still pretty far behind. I mean, 13 probes behind is that's not good. That's not really what you want from a situation like that. That's a lot of damage done and a lot of damage dealt. And I just got way too distracted by that little tiny buzz on my phone. Which I'm sure you could hear through the microphones, and I'm sure it drove half of you guys crazy, so I apologize for that, and I actually went out and shut down that little browser thing. So anyway, we are going to have the rebuilds coming out from Hjax, and in the production tab, we are seeing that Incubus has basically cut SCV production, so Hjax actually has a chance to come back into the SCV game, which I don't know why Incubus is doing it. I mean, Incubus has the two bases. He has the technology. I don't know why he's not producing all the SCVs he can. There we go. He's finally in the 2 SCV production. He's also double muling, so I mean, he does have a significant worker lead still. Actually, he has a very significant worker lead, because I think this medevac drop just did a little bit more damage. A lot more damage. Okay, so everyone's getting killed for Hjax, and that's just annoying. I mean, 18 probes. Not a lot of probes. He's only 13 workers down, but with 3 mules at 6 SCVs a pop, he's actually like 20-ish workers down, maybe even 30-ish. It looks like we do have Thors coming out from Incubus, which are not the best decision at like any point in time ever. I do not know why he's going Thors. I just don't know why you would go Thors versus Protoss in the current metagame, because the current metagame is so heavily reliant on that sort of bio play, the Marine Marauder medevac play, that is just so promising against a big Protoss army, and Thors are just wonky. They don't make a whole lot of sense. They're slow units that just don't do a lot of damage. I mean, the only other unit I can think of in like the StarCraft universe that is as slow as a Thor is like a Reaver. And Reavers were only good because you paired them up with shuttles, and you don't really pair Thors up with medevacs because they don't actually do as much damage as the shuttles of yore. And it looks like we are going to have the medevacs flying into the main base at this point, and, you know, this might be good. This might be cool. I could see this doing a whole lot more damage yet again. The Stalkers are actually in a much better position right now, and if Incubus wants to do a significant amount of damage, he is going to need to land in the back here, which is what he is currently planning on doing. And I could see him ripping apart the probes again, especially if Hjax does what he did last time and kind of traps them in there with force fields, which were definitely not the best decision, because this Sim City can work for, and it can most certainly work against you. There we do have a beautiful pull on the probes, and those probes are not going to be able to get anything killed, and there we do have it. He does manage to snipe off 1 sentry, but that was wonderfully played from Hjax. Hjax is going to go right on back to mining. In the natural, I mean, there's not a whole lot of units here, but it's going to be enough to kind of force this off, and it looks like the medevac is going to be made to run away at this point. There's only 47 hit points left on that, so the medevac has taken quite a bit of damage. In the main base of Incubus, we do have the tech labs spawning up out of the starport, which is kind of interesting. I mean, we might be seeing a Banshee play coming out soon, which would be weird. I mean, he has been going very, very harassment heavy this game, and it has worked out incredibly well. I mean, he has 16 SCVs, or 16, he has a 16 SCV lead. That's what I wanted to say, and that's what I said in the end. And honestly, he's just been pushing that at this point. He's been doing very, very well for himself. It looks like 2-2 is on the way. Or no, that's 2-1. 2-1 is on the way for his mech. So we are going to see a mech Terran, which might just be the thing that he needs to throw away a lead this big. Mech Terran it's not a good Terran in there. Incubus. Incubus. Do you know what this is? This is an SC. This is a supply depot lid. This is what you never want to see, because supply depot lids are just sad. I mean, they're really, really just pathetic. And Incubus, come on. Anyway, it looks like we do have something getting sniped off there by missile turrets. I was not really paying anywhere near enough attention to catch it, but, you know, I'm sure it was important. I mean, I definitely heard missile turrets going off. And is anything actually damaged? No, so maybe it was just like a hallucination. Did he research hallucination? Oh, if he researched hallucination, I'm gonna laugh. No, he didn't. Okay, so something got shot down, but I don't know what, and I'm sure you guys can figure it out. Oh, observer. It was probably an observer. I would put money on it being observer. That would make sense to me. It looks like the Nexus is going down along with the command center at the third, so both of our players are taking third bases at this point. Chrono Boost is kind of building up quite high. Probe production is still in full swing. However, he's still 8 SCVs/probes behind, which is actually a reasonably respectable thing. It looks like a pylon is getting shot out to release 2 probes. And you never want to trap workers like that. That's just annoying. And there we do have the move-in from the Hellions. Very interesting. It looks like he wanted to drive everything away from the third base so that the Hellions with Blue Flame could get in there, but there's no SCVs there. In fact, he's just going to be shooting away at a Nexus. And honestly, these Hellions are not even going to be able to get the Nexus shield down, let alone anything else. And they're going to sacrifice all of their lives for that. A beautiful couple force fields going down, and bada bing, bada boom, bada bam. All of the Hellions go down. 0 damage actually done to the main army of Hjax. And that was pretty beautifully played. I mean, again, this is the way to throw the game away as a Terran player. He is only 4 workers behind currently, which is a beautiful comeback from losing, what, 28 workers to 1, or 31. He has lost 31 workers, and he has killed 1 from his opponent. And he is only like 4 workers behind, 3 workers behind at this point, and he's just pumping them out super fast. And that kind of shows the danger of what Incubus did, where he didn't really start taking the map as soon as he did that huge economic damage, because your opponent is not going to be able to push out. Your opponent is not going to be able to deal damage to you unless they're going for an all-in. You can take a third base quite safely after you deal such a strong amount of economic damage. And by not doing that, he's kind of allowed Hjax to just claw back into the game ever so slightly. Now, of course, Hjax, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Hjax is still in a very crappy position right now. I mean, he's down a lot in upgrades. He's down to 3-2 to 1-1, or 0-0 right now, with 3-2 on the way and 1-1 on the way, and that's not a position you want to be in. But he does have a reasonable tech, and again, Hjax is going for mech, and by mech I mean Thors, and Thors, they just, I don't know, I've never seen them be used efficiently against a Protoss army. I really haven't, especially with something like Zealots, with such a high amount of Zealots, because they're just so slow and they can't actually kite the Zealots like their bio counterparts can and are so famously known for doing. The only thing that Incubus might have going for him is the fact that there are only a lot of High Templar, and that's basically it. It looks like we do have a drop going down the main base, and that's going to be able to snipe off quite a few SCVs, or probes. Man, I cannot get that right. In fact, it does manage to snipe down about 7 probes, which puts him yet again comfortably in the lead for the SCV to probe count. But all this heavy harass is doing a lot of damage to both Incubus and to both Hjax and to Incubus himself. I mean, he's throwing away a lot of units to get this harassment done. It's 4 Hellions every single time, and he's not doing an amazing amount of economic damage. I'm not sure if he's doing the economic damage he needs to throw away units like that, because even though he has a lot of units of his own, I mean, he's basically just trading with his opponent. And there we do have the move up back into this base, and this might be able to do quite a bit of damage, especially if the probes start to run away, but they are not quite smartly enough. Charge of the Zealots is done, and that's going to be huge for the next couple engagements, because charged Zealots are just absolutely amazing versus Thors, and he does see the massive Thor army. And I don't think he's all that afraid of this. I mean, Thors are not a threat. Like, if you see a Thor army, you're not like, oh shit, I am so dead. You don't GG to a Thor army unless it's literally in your base. Purely because Thors, they just aren't scary. 3/3 Thors are a little bit scarier, but I still wouldn't say they're super threatening because they don't have splash. They attack quite slow. I mean, it's like 78 damage. It's like 60 DPS per Thor on single targets. So they can kill Zealots fast, but Thors cost a ton of supply. Like, even supply as Marines to Thors, I'm pretty sure Marines do a lot more damage. It's at least comparable, but I'm pretty sure Marines do a lot more damage. And Thors just, they aren't super effective versus these small packs of units. Now, of course, the switch into Colossus and the switch into High Templar might be a little bit counterintuitive for Hjax. Like, it might be bad purely because you don't want the high-tech units when you're fighting something like Thors. You just want Zealots. You want a lot of Zealots. You want a lot of Stalkers. You want those units that can just absolutely ravage them, especially if your opponent does not have a high amount of Hellions to fight off your Zealots, because, you know, Hellions are the way to fight Zealots. Currently, there are 5 High Templar in the army right now, and without Strike Cannon Research, that's going to be a lot of damage done to these Thors, either in Storms, because just they can't move fast. Thors can't move fast. But we do have the posturing from the High Templar, and oh, they're going for snipes. They're not going for EMPs. Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't believe he's not going for EMPs. A beautiful storm goes down. EMPs are finally happening, but they do not hit a large portion of the army. They do manage to take out quite just a couple of the God, that was kind of nasty. They managed to take out just a couple of the shields, but they really, I don't think they hit one purple unit. Maybe this High Templar get hit by it, but this might have been the High Templar that stormed, and that's why it has such low energy. In fact, I would put my money on that, because if it had gotten EMP'd, it would have lost a lot more. And here we do have the engagement going down. Those Blue Flame Hellions are going to be tearing through Zealots, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. And there we do have the coating of feedbacks going down onto the Thors, and those Thors are taking massive amounts of damage. The splash damage from the Colossus is just so much, and the Immortals are doing a whole ton of damage. And we have, even if he loses this engagement, he went pretty cash positive in it. And in fact, it looks like he's just going to win it. Maybe not. Alright, so this Archon is morphing in. I'm actually not sure if he's going to win or lose this engagement with this Thor. He's going to win it. He's fine. Thors do a lot of damage. However, with 6 Zealots on the way, this will be the force to move back and clean up. And Zealots, again, Zealots are going to be a huge part of this army. This a Zealot Immortal mix is going to be able to do a crazy amount of damage to the army from Incubus right now. Incubus is switching into much heavier Hellion production, but I don't like mech. I really don't like people going mech. I don't feel like it's the smartest thing you can do. I feel like if you're in a situation like this where you're fighting off against a lot of Zealots, you shouldn't be going mech. I just don't like it, but that's me personally. I mean, a lot of people just love going for those kind of weird strategies like mech, but I'm just not one of them. It looks like we do have a little bit of harassment below going up here to the 4th base. It was probably more of just a scout. And we do see those scouts actually scouting out all over the place. So he does know where all these Protoss bases are. And again, I think the Terran player still has quite a lead in economy. Actually, not really. I mean, he has way more mules at the gold, but that's going to dissipate soon. Other than that, they're kind of even on workers. They're both doing reasonable as to that regard. It looks like 3 more Thors are on the way, and these Thors, they do a lot of damage, but they just don't have high DPS per their supply cost, because they cost, what, 6 supply, right? Yeah, 6 supply. That's a lot of supply for units. Even then, I mean, he has a 50 unit supply lead, and that's even slightly more than 50 unit supply lead, just because of the fact that has more workers. Hjax has more workers. But even then, I mean, I don't know. I actually don't know what's going to happen in this game right now. Incubus, I would still say, is in a bit of an advantage, but that's purely because of the amount of economic damage he's done throughout this game, which is astronomical. I mean, it's ridiculously huge. And even then, he's still in kind of an awkward position because it's going to be very difficult for him to move out against his opponent. We do have a lot of probes getting sniped here, and oh, that's nasty. Ouch, that's going up to 88 probes lost for Hjax. And honestly, if I had seen this fight, and if Incubus was going bio, I would just call the game. I would literally say it's a GG. Incubus wins this because he's going bio. But with mech, I I don't know if the damage is really there. It looks like a nuke is going to be going down here, but it will be spotted by a photon cannon. So there down goes a ghost, and that was an awful way to frame that sentence, but do I look like I care? And with 2 more Thors on the way, that will bring him to a maxed out army. But again, I just don't know how actually useful it is. It looks like the 4th army, or the army is going to be moving up to the 4th base of Hjax at this point. And Incubus still, you know, he still has the bigger army, but I hate mech. I hate mech against Protoss players because it's just so sketchy. I mean, if this game should have been won, just like hands down, should have been won a long time ago. And this mech is just really bringing him down. I don't know why he's quite going for the same amount of Colossi, because Colossi are not that good against mech. However, Colossi Archon is just kind of an interesting strategy in general to go against an army like this. It looks like a lot of the Hellions have been sniped at this point, and that's not going to be good for Hjax, because, you know, without Hellions, you're going to be contending with a lot of Zealots pouring in from a lot of gateways and doing a whole lot of damage. And there the Thors do manage to clean up the first round of Zealots, but if Hjax can manage to pull together a lot of AoE damage, I don't know why he hasn't redone the harvesters on that base. He has 22 harvesters down right now, so this game I think is going to be hard for Hjax to recover from. And in fact, I think I would be confident finally calling this game for Incubus and saying, you know, I don't think there's going to be a massive way for Hjax to get back into here. But at the same time, Hjax is going to have a lot of time. He will be able to spend a long time literally just turtling. Because Thors are slow moving units. In fact, right now, I'm surprised to see him not going into snipe off Incubus's bases. Because if he did a lot of damage to this base right here, he would actually be in a pretty superb economic position, because Incubus only has 2 bases right now. And if you manage to take out that gold, you're managing to take out a large portion of the economy. And it looks like Hjax kind of wants to have an engagement here, and honestly, this is probably one of the more perfect spots to have an engagement. The Ghost does get sniped, and the Thors are going to be trapped on this ramp, which is a little bit awkward for them. This is not where you want your Thors to be. You just don't want your Thors to be here. And it looks like the engagement's going to be going down here. The 1,000-pound mech men going up against the Protoss army. And here we do have a Viking just doing as much damage as it possibly can, valiantly fighting through the armor. But wow. Alright. Immortals are good. Mortals, pretty good. Again, he lost a lot to take that fight because he had to lose all these bases. But Immortals are pretty fucking good. That's why you don't go Thors, because Thors get crazily hard countered by things like Immortals. Like, alright, let's just look at how much damage an Immortal does to a Thor. 65 damage. 65 damage. 65 damage. And Immortals cost, what, 3 supply to the Thor's 6? I think? I clicked on the wrong building. That's the building I want. Oh, 4 supply to the Thor's 6. So they are still very much DPS positive from the Thor as far as supply goes, especially when they're fighting things like Thors. And here we are going to have the Siege Range Colossus being able to do quite an annoying amount of damage to this base. They will be able to snipe off a lot of that Planetary Fortress, and the Nuclear Strike is going down, and man, those nukes are these nuke symbols are freaking massive. And some beautiful positioning from the Protoss force. He's going to be able to get all of his units out of the nuke area before anything goes down. And there we go. We do have another nice engagement with the SCVs here. I could see this fight actually going into Terran's way. Or maybe not. Maybe Immortals just do way too much damage. Oh my god, Immortals do so much damage. This is why you don't go mech. This is why you don't go mech versus a Protoss player. This. Right here. Specifically, this is why you don't go mech versus a Protoss player. Because this kind of shit happens where I'm like, oh, he's 22 workers down. He'll be fine. There's no way he can win this game. And then, you know, he just has 9 Immortals, and 9 Immortals kill an indefinite amount of Thors. Excuse me. I mean, just look at these Immortals. They are ripping through these Thors. It's just so much damage done. I'm like, I'm not even sure if he can still sync this game up, because I don't know where his probes are. Did he get like quadruple nuked? How many probes? Does he have any probes left? He has 2 probes left. Where are these probes? Where the hell are these probes? Where are they? Where are these probes? Probos. Alright, so these are the last 2 probes on the map, and they're farming gas. And there is a ghost right here that could kill them, but he's not. And this is like this is the example game I want everybody to point to when they say don't go mech versus Protoss, because Protoss can lose this many workers, 148 workers, and still do okay. I mean, he's gonna lose this game purely because he has 2 workers left, and they're both about to die, and then he can only produce 1 worker. But at the same time, he almost won the game, losing 150 freaking workers. Just think about that number. 150. 150. That is a crazy amount of workers. That's almost losing. That's almost if you built a 200 supply unit, supply army of workers, and you just attacked into a line of Colossus. Like, that is what would happen. Because you would, like, start that attack, and then the Colossus would start firing, and you'd start to run away. And approximately 50 workers would probably get away from that engagement. And that's how many workers. And you would lose 150 workers in that engagement. It would just be absolutely horrific. And I can't believe he is still going so cash positive against this Terran army. I mean, he's literally just camping production at this point and winning with it. He cannot produce. He cannot make another worker, and he is still doing this in this game. Like, there's no way he's going to be able to kill off this planetary fortress. There is actually physically no way he's going to be able to kill the planetary, and he's still doing this good in this game. I mean, granted, he's finally at those 3-2-3 upgrades, but don't go mech versus Protoss. I mean, we finally have Banshees coming out, and Banshees will be able to end this game because the 5 units he has left that he can build can't actually shoot up. So this will finally be the end of this game. But just don't go mech. Don't do it, alright? Don't go mech. Don't. Alright? If you have a friend that is like, I'm going to go play a TVP, and I'm going to go mech, literally walk up to them, bitch slap the hell out of them, and say, no, 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 no. Bad friend. You don't go mech in a TVP. Don't do it. And I just did like the most absurd amount of body language with that statement, and none of you guys will ever see it. Alright, so anyway, guys, if you want your games commentated, you can send them on into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. Also, if you would like to watch any other Boisterous action, you can head over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. I'd like to thank you all for watching this game, and this is Boisterous, signing out.